So what's an area of your life that you want to take to the next level? What's an area of your life you want to master, not dabble in? Because, people say, oh, I want this, I want to make a lot more money, or I want to start a business, or I want to lose weight, or I want to have a great relationship. But then they dabble, they try something a time or two, and if it doesn't work out well, they quit. And you look at the people that are most successful on the face of the earth, and they're the people that, got turned down by, 102 banks, Walt Disney, right? Or people that went out there and they sold everything that they had to start a business, and it didn't work out so well in the beginning, but they eventually found the way. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's, people like, Mark Benioff, who created Salesforce.com, or somebody like, Virgin. You look at that brand and you see what, what was built out of that from the very beginning, when they were literally in a college dorm trying to figure out how to put out a little magazine, and had these ideas of this catalog they're going to sell records with, and no money and no response, and not able to pay the bills. And then, now all of a sudden you find people like that, his first name starts with a Sir in front of it, Richard Branson, right? You must know the road ahead. Why? Because when you know the road ahead, you can anticipate. Write it down again. Anticipation is the ultimate advantage in business and in life. Anticipation, when you know the road ahead, you know what's coming. When you know what's coming, you can anticipate. When you can anticipate, what's the benefit of anticipation? When you anticipate, you're ahead of the game. If you're not anticipating, what do you have to do? React. And when you're in the game of business and you react, you're going to die. It's that simple. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been in business. If you find yourself reacting, you're going to die. You're in business and you didn't anticipate some of the challenges coming up with technology, and all of a sudden it eats you up in a week, in a month. What you built 5-10 years ago disappears. Who's seen this happen and knows what I'm talking about is real here? Say aye. So we're talking about the most important skill of all here. Anticipation, because otherwise you're reacting. Why does the kid succeed? They played it so many times. Guess what they know when the game starts? First bad guy's here, second bad guy's here, third bad guy's here. They don't wait, they anticipate, and they take control. If there's one gift you could give yourself, it's to know this. Write this down if you would. The biggest chokehold in any business, is always the owner/leader. It's the owner-leader's psychology or skills. The biggest chokehold in any business is the owner-leader's psychology or skills. Your mindset, what eats you up is you don't know what's coming. You don't have the skill to handle what's coming because you don't know it. Or you're so beat up psychologically, emotionally by what you've been through, you can't find the answer. So as a result, you end up with a story that limits you. You end up in a state that limits you. What's stopping the business, another way of saying this is, the story, the state, and the strategy of the owner or the leader. If you change that owner leader's state, story, and strategy, you change everything. If you don't, they're not going to succeed. So Bill Gates is a gutsy bastard. Bill Gates has the guy took big risks. He was at Harvard, had a great education set up, wasn't doing so good, but he read a magazine article about the first personal computer called the Altair. And as he read it, he said, you know what? I think this is the future. He anticipated the changes that would come in the future. But he had guts and he took a risk. That's why he's who he is. He called the guy up and he said, listen, I see you got this new computer. You guys need software for that. He said, I've written software for it that'll make it run perfectly. Was that true? Yes or no? It's total bullshit. He made it up. He was just being gutsy and saying, if I tell the guy I've got software and he says, come see me, I'm going to figure out how to do it. Pretty ballsy. Sure enough, the guy said, bring it to me in 3 weeks. So he had 3 weeks to come up with software between he and his partner. And he worked around the clock. And literally, when he went to Altera, New Mexico, to show this software, he didn't have a computer to test it on. He didn't know if it was going to work for sure. Thank God for his future, it worked. It was a gutsy, risky thing. He invested all his time and energy. He blew off his school. He did everything, and thank God for him, it worked. But that didn't make him wealthy. You know what made him wealthy? Something called MS-DOS. MS-DOS was software that he did not write. He bought MS-DOS that made him $3.5 billion for $50,000. Bill Gates bought it for $50,000 from somebody else. He saw IBM and he was studying his competition. And he said, they think they're in the computer business, and I think the computer business is going to become a commodity at some point in the future. I want to control the intelligence that controls those computers. So what I'm going to do is I'll offer the software and I'll just go buy it from this kid over here. Now $50,000 is a huge sum of money. Most business people don't have guts, they don't take risks, and they don't invest. He said, I got to do this. Rolled the dice, got it locked up, went to IBM and convinced them. Now IBM wanted it. What did IBM want to do? They wanted to buy it from him. He said, no, I'll rent it to you. They said, no. He said, look, you're not in the software business anyway. You're in the computer business. You don't want software. Software changes. You don't know that area. Let me do this for you. The biggest strategic, remember I said your life is controlled by your what? Decisions. That decision made him wealthy. That decision for IBM made them a has-been in a short number of years. You have to anticipate the shifts. Am I making sense with you here? Yes or no? So, what's the solution? The solution, listen to me, is constant and never-ending improvement on the areas that control the success or failure of your business. Constant, never-ending improvement. It doesn't have to be huge, but it has to be constant. Incremental improvements in the areas that matter on a regular basis, and you will dominate as long as you also anticipate. So let me give you 7 real fast because I'm on tight on time. Let me give you the first of the 7. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to start with the end in mind. If you're going to be successful in business, the end outcome, what makes somebody successful in business is not that they make a sale. If all you do is make a sale, you made a little money. To have a business, it has to be sustained. To be sustained, you have to build clients, or at a minimum, what I would call raving fan clients, raving fan customers. Now, why is the target of all business a raving fan customer? Well, first of all, what makes a human being wealthy in financial terms? What will make you wealthy is only one way to get wealthy and stay wealthy. Add more value to other people's lives than anyone else can possibly do. If you add more value than anybody else, you will have people be a raving fan of your product, service, or company. And raving fans are the best marketing in the world because today, nobody pays attention to advertising unless it's shocking. And even then, it doesn't necessarily sell the product. What sells products today is people telling people this is the best shit you can get. How many agree with me on this right now? Say aye. And you can't buy that word of mouth. You can only deliver it by delivering such an incredibly valuable experience or product or service that people tell everybody about it. The first key to getting to that target, if we're gonna grab hold of our energy and we're gonna race towards this target, is you have to do step number 1. Step 1 in a business is you gotta know where you really are. You gotta know where you really are, and you gotta build what I call a business map. Now, what do I mean by a business map? Well, think of it this way. How many of you in this room have a 5-year business plan right now for your company? 5-year business plan, raise your hand. Now, a group of 9,000 people, I'm seeing maybe a dozen hands. The reason you're seeing a dozen hands is because even if you have to have a 5-year plan, it's bullshit. And I'm not being disrespectful. It's bullshit. Why is it bullshit? Everyone tell me. Why is a 5-year business plan in the world we live in today total bullshit? Why? Because the world is changing so fast, you have no clue what's going to be here in 5 years. You're kidding yourself. So what do? Throw up your hands and just hope it works out well? That's a disaster too. What you need is a business map. A business map means you understand the territory. You understand what's happening, where it's happening, so as you're moving along, you can adjust with that map to get where you want to go as the environment changes. The way you frame what business you're in to yourself is the single biggest limit in your business, and I promise you it's limiting who you do business with as well. If you ask Peter Drucker, one of the greatest business geniuses of all time, he used to say, there's really only one question, maybe two in business. His question is, what business are you in and how's business? You must control the meaning within yourself, within your team, and then the way you market it. But you can't do that until you're crystal clear what business you're in. And every 7 weeks, you should be digging in deeper to what business you're in, or you'll ask a third question. What business do you need to be in? Because let me tell you something. You didn't experience in 2008 in Australia what the rest of the world did, but you're going to experience some of what the rest of the world has experienced coming soon. You're going to experience it in your real estate market, you're going to experience it in your shares market, and you're going to experience some unemployment on a much larger scale than what you guys are uncomfortable with right now. It's coming. I'm not here to be Mr. Positive, and I'm not being negative. I'm saying it's coming, so you want to take advantage of winter, not let it freeze you to death. And you can, because when everybody else is scared and hesitating, if you're doing the things I'm showing you, you will take their market share and you will dominate. Even if you're a little guy, you can become a big guy in this time. Because the time in which things change is tough times. That's when little guys become big guys. Because the big guys are doing the same boring shit over and over again and they're not flexible. But I gotta tell you something. In order to succeed in your business, you gotta fall in love with your clients and not with your products and services. But here's the other question. What stage of the life cycle of a business are you in? Listen to me. This understanding is the most important understanding of all, and I can't give it to you all here. I take a day on this. When I say I give people $1 million guarantee, the reason I'm giving that $1 million guarantee and no one ever takes me up on it, I think 2 times in 3 years someone's taken me up on it. And when they did, I've been glad because I didn't want a stupid person in my seminar. I was like, if you can't see this is going to save you $1 million and make you $1 million, you shouldn't be in here, right? I'm happy to refund your money. Is this material. And this material is understanding the life stage of the business. See, businesses have life cycles just like humans do. So watch this for a second. Which can get into more trouble, an infant or a toddler? Quick, nice and loud. Which one? Nice and loud. Which one? Why? Because the toddler's more mobile. They can go, what does this rock taste like? Right? Which one could get more in trouble, a toddler or a teenager? That's right. Tell me, if you give your car to a teenager and you say, drive it never above the speed limit, what can you promise and guarantee they're going to do? Are they going to speed, yes or no? And the worst thing that can happen is they get away with it. Let me explain what I mean. Businesses have stages of development. What did I tell you was the most important thing to business? The power of anticipation. What if there was a way to know in advance what problems you were going to have in your business before they happened? You knew exactly what they were, how they were going to happen, and what to do to prevent them right now, no matter what stage you're in. How many think that'd be worth its weight in gold? Raise your right hand, say aye. That's what happens when you understand the stage. Let's go to number 2. The second key force of business you've got to be working on is constant strategic innovation. Now, what the hell does that mean? Sounds so complex. Strategic innovation. Notice I didn't just say innovate. You can innovate, and it may not make a difference. And innovation takes time, energy, and money. It's got to be innovation the customer cares about. Let's go back to Peter Drucker for a moment. Peter Drucker has always said that the core of all business is only two things. If a business is successful, these two things are its core: innovation and marketing. Everybody else in your company is employed by the people who innovate and market for your company, because without them, there is no company. Now, what does innovation mean? It means finding a way to meet people's what? Needs. It means finding a way to add more what? Than anybody else is adding. But listen to me, and maybe this will help you understand innovation in a different way. People say, but I am meeting their needs, and my customers are really happy, so why innovate? Because it's called innovate or die in the world we live in. Let me explain why. How often does Apple Computer, even though they're the best, find a way to innovate again? How often can you count on it? Is it consistent, yes or no? Every year, sometimes multiple times in a year, isn't it true? That's why they're number one. So what you have to do is, you can't just meet your needs, you gotta meet their needs in a new way. Meet the needs even more, add more value, but do it in a new way. That's how you have raving fan clients. It's not enough to meet their needs. It's not enough to add more value. Got to do it in new ways all the time. It makes it sexy. It makes it mysterious. It makes it interesting. It makes them want to engage you. It gets them to tell everybody else about the new thing you're doing. Okay? Now, let's go to number 3 real fast. I'm going to have to kick this in gear to catch up. So number 3 is, if you, what was it that we said Drucker said? All business is two things: innovation and what? Come on, guys, innovation and marketing. Answer this question for me. Does the best product or service always win? Yes or no? Nice and loud, yes or no? Which company always wins? McDonald's? Where does that shit come from? No, the best marketed product or service, for better or worse. And let's use McDonald's, okay, ma'am? That's a good example. Tell me something. Perfect example. Does McDonald's make the best tasting hamburger in the world? Notice we got a universal 9,000 person response. No. Is it the tastiest? Is it the best quality? Yes or no? But it is the best what? Marketed, as you would say, marketed in the world. I call it marketed. The point of the matter is, this company understands marketing, and even though they have a shit product, they got billions and billions and billions of people to eat that shit. Now, here's the problem with marketing today, and it's a significant problem. I want you to think about this. Does anybody know how many marketing messages the average person had to see 15 years ago? How many messages before they would start to seek you out to consider buying your product, where they would do something active to seek out your product? Does anybody know? 15 years ago, how many times did they have to see a message from you on average if you had a quality ad? The answer is 4. 15 years ago. Does anybody know what the number is today? 16. Now, what do you think that's done to companies' profitabilities? Add value. Does this make sense? Become an education marketer, become someone that does value, because then you become the valued expert, not a stupid salesperson. Because you're giving me something, and if you give me something, I want to give you something. I'd love to give you my business if you're going to give me something, but if you're just going to advertise, screw you. Raise your hand if you follow this. Say aye. And then you don't have to go for 16 exposures. You can get somebody in 1 exposure, and they'll answer your emails, and they'll reach out to you, and you'll watch your business grow like you can't even dream. Force number 4 is the constant, never-ending improvement of sales and mastery systems. Sales mastery systems. Marketing is wonderful, but if you don't convert that marketing into sales, you don't have a business. Now, because of time, here's all I'll tell you on this one. I'm going to give you that's valuable, that's simple. How about this? How many of you right now in this room have a business that's primarily done with no salespeople, all on the web? Raise your hand. No salespeople, all automated. Raise your hand if you have salespeople. If you have salespeople that work with you. The majority of you. If you have an automated business, no matter how good it is, you don't want a one-legged stool. A one-legged stool at one point can get in trouble and you collapse. You want at least 3 legs, and one of those legs, as a minimum, has got to be a sales team. Now, how can you grow, though, when you're a brand new small business or you've been around a while? Well, technology today allows us to be able to hire people to go to work for us literally 24/7, 365 all around the world. We literally have more than 150 people that work for one of my companies, all of which live in different parts of the world, all of which we know only by way of our experience of them, by way of Skype calls where we can see them and coach them, but we measure them better than the persons in the same room with us in the old days. We know what they're doing every moment. We know people are responding. We know everything because it's all fed to us by the web. We have virtual companies now. So if you don't have a lot of resources, we can show you how to get 3 or 5 salespeople in your little company, like these couple of guys here that right now are operators. What if you had 3 people that their entire life was about how to make sure they filled your business? Well, you wouldn't have one little location, you might have 5. But here's what I can tell all of you, just give you one quick hint in this area in the time that we got. Write down one thing. Great salespeople are not trained, they are found. Great salespeople are not trained, they are found and then trained to be even better. And this is coming from a guy that's trained 2 million salespeople in the world. I did that for 15 years. It's one of my jobs. Here's what I mean by this. Write down this phrase. Nature is the most powerful factor. Nature is the most powerful factor. If I was going to give you something in 2 seconds right now, I'd say it's this. If you're going to get a great person to sell for you, you can train somebody all day long, but their nature has to match the job. The 5th force you got to take control of, you've got to have constant anticipation. Remember that key word, anticipation? So you're not reacting, you're anticipating, you know the road ahead in 2 areas of your business. Legal, and I know you're not a lawyer, at least most of you, but you got to know where your risks are, and financial or accounting. Now, how many of you in this room as business owners hate accounting? If you're with me, brothers and sisters, can I have a hallelujah? However, unfortunately, even though you hate it, how many of you in this room have ever been bitten in the bum, so to speak, because you thought the numbers were one thing or they meant something or your cash was one level, it was another? Some accounting piece that really, really hurt you at the time. Who's had this experience before? Raise your hand nice and high. Say aye. I want to tell you something. More companies go down because most of you in this room do not like accounting, and I do not want to sell you on being an accountant. What a boring ass job. But I do want to sell you on knowing enough of this that you can run that accountant or that CFO. Because you still have to lead, and if you don't, you'll become part of the 99% that fail. I don't care how big, smart you are, I don't care how much your sales are. Learning how to manage your business includes the economics, and we take half a day and make it fun so that you can kick ass with any CFO or accountant, and you can ask them questions they don't know. Let me ask you 2 questions real fast. Question 1. How many of you have a specific day of the month that you always go through your financials and you never ever miss on your business? Raise your hand. Keep your hand up and look around the room. It's not even 3% of the room that does this. That's why 99% go out of business. Remember I said in the beginning, what is the chokehold in the business? It's the psychology and the skills of the entrepreneur. If you don't develop the skill of knowing how to manage the finances, I don't mean write it down and do the accounting. I mean know how to read that and use that information as intelligence to guide yourself, you're going to be in trouble. In business, nobody gets a special license. You can go out there and know nothing about numbers except what you think you know, and that's why you go out of business. This is a skill. If you don't get it from me, you better go get it now. But I can give it to you in a fun way in half a day of the 4 days, where you'll be able to read financials and find stuff your accountant's not finding. And then what you want to find is the intelligence that allows you to know how to run your business more effectively. I'll give you a little clue. Who here knows the 3 documents you've got to see every single month to run your business? Raise your hand if you know the 3 and can name them. Look around the room. Look at this. We got 9,000 people in this room, and maybe 20% of you even know the documents. You don't review them, you don't even know what they are. Here, I'll give you a little gift, something that took me 20 years to figure out. Little gift. If you got a business that has a 20% margin of net profit, and most of you probably have a margin less than that, some of you maybe more than that. But if you have that and you just cut 12% of your costs, 12% of your costs on a 20% margin company, you'll grow your profits by 50%, meaning you'll have a 30% margin. If you want to, listen to me, you want to grow your profits 50%, all you have to do is cut 12% of your costs. But you're never going to do that when you don't even look at your own financials. Let's go to the next one. Finally, number 6. Number 6 is, what if I said to you there was treasure in your business and that treasure is just waiting for you to come by and pick it up? But you got to dig for it. But if you pick it up, it's going to cost you nothing. What if I said to every one of you in this room, no bullshit, no hyperbole, no exaggeration, in the next 6 to 12 months, 18 months at the outside, in a tougher economy even, you could grow your business 30 to 130%, no exaggeration, no hyperbole. And it's not going to cost you any more money to do it. When I say it's not cost you any money, let me be honest. You might find by spending $5,000, you could make $150,000. Or by spending 10, you could make $500,000. So to me, that's not spending money. How many follow what I'm talking about here? Say I. That is this skill. This is my strongest skill. This is why companies call me in to do turnarounds. This is why my companies are where they are through all the economies and all the countries I've been in, all the industries. You have to learn the skill of optimization and maximization. That's this point. You have to learn to optimize and maximize your business on an ongoing basis. Now, what does that mean? It means figuring out how to do what you're already doing, where you get a geometric result from a bunch of small changes. Small changes that accumulate to create a geometric change. But you gotta master this. Go home and figure this out by itself if you want to, and you can start making progress right away. I'm very pragmatic about what does it take to make life work. But what I want you to know is Australia, of all the places on the face of the earth, when I was talking to my client, he was saying, Tony, of all the places on earth, there's one place you'd pick to have a great quality of life with your family that will weather the storm the best, it's Australia, by far. You guys are in the best place on earth to make it through this situation and take advantage of it. But the real secret is whether you suffer or whether you succeed is not going to be based on the season. Some people freeze to death in the middle of the winter. Other people ski and snowboard. It really comes down to what are you going to do? So as I was coming here, I was thinking, what can I do to show you how to take advantage of the season? What can I do to show you how you can absolutely, doesn't matter what the season is a bad season financially a good or bad time to start a business? Tell me, which one? When the economy is toughest, is it a good or bad time to start a business? You tell me. Which one? You go, well, of course, that's what he expects me to say is good. But it's the truth. If you look at the Fortune 1000 companies around the world, 65% of them were started in a depression or a recession. The reason is they were started with somebody when all the competition was freaking out. Somebody could start like Apple Computers in the middle of a recession with selling their Volkswagen bus and coming out with some ideas because everybody else was scared and wasn't willing to do whatever it took. Disney started in the Depression, right? Fortune magazine started in a depression. How are you going to build your fortune in the middle of a depression? It's why they're one of the strongest companies in the magazine business, and a business that's pretty horrible for most people. If you look at Microsoft, it was a recession. You look at the best, the most powerful companies, it's because they understood something that's really critical, and that is, don't ask it be easier, ask and make yourself better. If you get strong during the tough time, you'll dominate for the rest of your life. Hey, it's Tony again. Listen, I just want to follow up and make sure you keep that momentum going in your life. And one thing that I thought might be helpful to you is when people come to the seminar, they're excited because they know it's coming, or they might be a little concerned as well, but it kind of gets you in state because when you know there's something coming in the future and you're moving towards it, you start to anticipate it. And what I try to explain to people is that everybody in the world has goals, whether they know it or not. Some people's goals are to get through the lousy day. Some people's goals is to change the world. Some people's goals or dreams are to lose some weight. Some people want to make money. Ultimately, people's goals you would think would be to have a life that was meaningful, that where you felt alive and passionate and excited, and where your life mattered and you're able to touch other people. But if you don't consciously select your goals, then you can find yourself falling into the trap of making a living instead of designing a life. That's the majority of people in the world today. The people that are lucky enough to have a job. For the people that don't, they're just trying to get through the day. And so my suggestion to you is to keep the momentum going. If you haven't already done it, if you remember we talked on the third day about this idea of these 3 pillars of lasting change or lasting improvement, 3 pillars of success. You said the first key was get focused. Get clear about what you really want. What do you really want? Why do you want it? Make it so compelling that inside you're so excited to move forward. And I want to remind you of that because there's an area of your life that probably you're doing really well in. And we talked on the third day of the UPW seminar, we talked about this idea there's an area you kind of suck in, an area that you're not happy with and you really want to change. And you might have found yourself getting home and then dealing with all the demands of your daily life and getting overwhelmed. And so what I want to say to you is don't let that story that I got to do that later drip in. Pick one area of your life, either an area you're strong in, you want to take it to another level, take it higher, better, deeper, richer, more alive, more fun, more joyous, whatever it is, stronger. Or take an area that you haven't doing well and decide, over the next 90 days, I'm going to make major progress in this area of my life. 90 days, and set a 90-day goal of something that's going to excite you in that area. 90 days that you're going to make this thing happen. Because your goals affect you, whatever they are. And if you don't set a conscious goal, you're going to be affected by the room around you. It's got to be a goal that moves you. It's got to be something that'll get you going. It's like the people that succeed are the people that didn't just have a dream or goal. They had a dream or goal that was so exciting to them, so obsessive to them, that when nothing worked, they kept on going. So figure out what's going to excite you like that. What's one goal, one focus? If you want to go 3, do 3 max. What's 1, 2, or 3 things that you're going to accomplish in the next 90 days that are going to excite the hell out of you? And then number 2, go get the best tools. Find a role model. Find somebody who knows that area, has mastered that area, and give you the insights and show you. Not somebody's going to talk a good game, somebody who's done it. I don't care if it's investing in real estate, then go find the person who's the best in that stuff. If it's changing your body, you got to go do those things that absolutely work. Not some local person who's going to pump you up. Somebody's the best at what they do. And get a plan from them. You don't want to settle for what everybody else does. Look for those people that know the 2 millimeters that nobody else knows. They have the insight and they can save you decades in a few days because they know how to get you from where you want to go. But you got to bring first the goal, the desire, and then you got to go get that expert. And maybe you'll do it through books or tapes or audios or a seminar or an event or a mentor or somebody that you know. But that's the second step. And the third step is, if you find yourself not following through, remember it's because you have some inner conflict. Like, you say, gosh, I really want to work out, but I work 16 hours, 12-hour days. I come home, and I need to be with my kids. I want to be with my kids. I got to work out and be with my kids. No, you don't. You just need a better strategy and get rid of the conflict. Maybe your strategy is from now on, 4 days a week, you get that stroller, and you go for the run with your kids, right? How powerful would it be to imprint your children that every day the bonding time with their parent is this thing called movement and exercise. And you're really getting the workout, you're really truly being with your kids, you're having a great time, you're outdoors, you're feeling alive, and you're not to pick one or the other. Don't buy the story that you can't do something because you don't have the time. It's a lie. You just need to get more strategic. You need to get a little smarter. You got to be a little more playful, got to be a little more fun. And if you do something like this, it doesn't just affect you. When you come back and you're in such a great physical state, for example, it affects your relationships. And in this case, it would imprint on your son or daughter, maybe for a lifetime, that love can be experienced while we're moving and being alive. And what would that do long term for a child? There's just so many things you can do. So if you find yourself finding that inner conflict, identify it, and then just put yourself in a state where you kick its butt. You know how to change your state, a radical change in your body, a radical change in your focus, or get a role model that's already solved this. And I will say this to you, just one last thing. Now go. I just want to pop in and give you a little something, hopefully to keep you going with some momentum. Don't take on a goal or a dream or desire with somebody else as your buddy. Buddies are fantastic because it's a way to keep yourself on target. I mean, the ideal is you get a coach. And in fact, by the way, if you want a coach, we'll give you a free coaching session at Robbins Research. I'm sure they'll put a line or a phone number, something there. Take advantage of it. We'll help you get a plan. We'll show you how to break through. And then if you want ongoing coaching, we can deliver it for you. I get $1 million a year to coach someone, and I've trained all my coaches on exactly what to do to help people break through, not for a day, not for a week, for a life. I got my coaches that I still see. But get a coach. If you don't have a coach, get a mentor, but don't get a buddy that has not accomplished what you want to accomplish. Let me explain. One time, I'll never forget, I was on a television show that had a series of women that spoke on a variety of subjects, and I won't say the name of the show, The View. And there's some people on the show, quite a few people there that I am fans of it. They're great people. Barbara Walters, somebody I've known for years, and just, I think, one of the most incredible human beings you could know. Incredible breakthrough woman in journalism. And I was there, I think it was in January, and I was doing a program on getting fit, transforming your body, getting the energy you deserve, and I was giving insights and strategies and tools. And afterwards, 4 of the women were all so excited that they literally followed me to the green room. And they said, you know what, this is such a different way of approaching this, and this excites us, and your energy is infectious, and we really want to do this. You know, we're going to start this together. You know, any tips? Because in the past, whenever we've done this, we start for a day or two, and then we don't finish. And I said, yes, I'm going to give you a tip, and it's not going to sound nice, but you want the truth, right? And they said, yes. I said, you know I respect you immensely. You're the best in the world at what you do, right? And I said, yes. And they said, don't partner with each other. And they said, why? We're friends. I said, that's the problem. I said, all of you are incredibly successful in your careers, but none of you are incredibly successful in your physical bodies at the level you desire and deserve. I'm not being critical. You've already told me this. So I said, here's the problem. You guys all say, let's go do this. And then one of the people's going to go, oh, I'm tired this morning, or I need to buy Starbucks and have a smoke, whatever that crap is they drink. And they all looked at me. At first, they were taken back, kind of aghast, and then you saw nods, right? I said, you're the wrong team to partner with. Partner on your careers. Do not partner on losing body. Go find somebody that works out every day and make them your buddy. Go hire, a coach. Go hire a trainer. Go somebody that when you call them and go, I don't feel like it today, they go, I don't give a damn what you feel like. We're doing this. Because that's how you're going to follow through. Listen, you got results in that weekend because we did certain things that was coaching you to get you to follow through. That's what's going to work for the rest of your life. Get somebody who knows the answers, not somebody who's positioning, and get that person to be your mentor, your coach, your friend, the person to hold you to a standard and give you the insights, show you those 2 millimeters that can save you time and keep yourself going. Now, by the way, the hardest person to partner with, and the one I suggest you do not partner with in most cases, is your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend. Sounds great in the beginning. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're both fit and you both work out regularly, fantastic. But otherwise, there'll be a blame game that goes with each other. In fact, since you come back from the UPW, I'm sure, I mentioned this before, it's so often, you're so excited, you're so full of energy. It's like you go to a movie or amusement park ride or something. You go to a movie and it's so good and you come out and somebody says, what was it? You say, well, there you go, I just go see it, right? It's hard to explain what happened in 4 days and nights of 12, 14, 15 hours a day with 5,000 people in total immersion, right? I mean, how do you explain this? And what most people say to their spouse, oh, it was so incredible, I feel so alive, and you're all amped up and excited, and we didn't sleep, we didn't eat, I hugged a bunch of sweaty strangers. It was amazing. You're not helping yourself or me to touch more people with those descriptions. But when you're excited, this enthusiasm comes out. And it's hard to try and crystallize for someone else what's going on. And then also they're a little skeptical because they're like, this isn't going to last. And so truthfully in life, nothing lasts if you don't find somebody to partner with. Because think of it this way. If you're a burning stick and you get on that ground, you're gonna burn out. But if you take that stick and you put it with a bunch of other burning sticks, you got a bonfire. And if one of us starts to go out, the one next to us will reignite us. That's the power of immersion. That's why I do events. That's why I have Master University. That's why I have coaches, to keep people reignited so that we use all of our abilities, talents, and skills, and so we don't settle for less than we can be or do or share or create in our life. So whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, make sure you decide what's exciting to you. What do you want to change? What do you want to improve? What do you want to make happen? 90 days, one 90-day goal. And maybe that 90-day goal with 2 or 3 action items. What are you going to do immediately? One of those action items is go get yourself a role model, go get yourself a strategist, go get yourself a coach, go get yourself somebody that knows that area that can save you enormous time. And then thirdly, make sure if there's any inner conflict, you overcome it by getting in state, taking massive action, or getting your coach to help you to break through whatever was limiting you in some way. If your spouse, by the way, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and you come back from UPW and they're going, what the hell is this? And they don't seem very supportive, the best thing to do is not try to convince them, but to be more of who you really are. Not to let it get it down, not to say, why don't they support me? But to say, of course they'd be skeptical. They're afraid to get their hopes up. They're afraid that you're gonna get excited about something else other than them. That's part of human beings. They're afraid that you're gonna get your hopes up and be disappointed. They don't want you to be disappointed. So deliver for them. Step up for them. Get out of your own head in the midst of all you're excited about and say, what does my spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, this loved person in my life really need? And maybe this week, just figure out one thing you're going to do differently to improve their life. And that you're not going to ask for, you're not doing it for brownie points. You're just doing it because you love them and they deserve it. It's so hard, when we're so busy in our lives, there's so much distraction all the time that we oftentimes let go of those things that are most important to us and they get habitual. In any relationship that gets habitual because you're so busy, where someone doesn't feel your presence, sometimes you have to do anything. It's just shut up and be there for them. It's pretty magical, as simplistic as it sounds. But do something, keep the momentum going. That's the reason I'm reaching out. And you don't have to do anything with me to make that happen, but you do have to, 1, decide what you're gonna improve the next 90 days massively. Make sure you know why you wanna improve it, what the reasons are. When stuff gets tough, why are you gonna keep going through? What does it excite you? Come up with what you want, be specific, and make it compelling. 2, come up with your action plan. What are you gonna do immediately today? As soon as you set the goal, who are you gonna call? What are you gonna schedule? What are you gonna measure in? What are you gonna do while you're still in state to make that goal start to move forward? What's a little thing you can do? What's a big thing you can do? Second part of that is get yourself a strategist, get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, go get a buddy, but get somebody that knows what they're doing to guide you. Third, find anything that's holding you back, overcome that. And the way to do that, of course, massive action, change your state, get through the BS. You know how to change your limiting beliefs. I don't have to tell you at this point, all right? I've gone a little long. I was gonna give you a 1-minute message, but I hope it's been helpful for you. In life, the only thing that makes us happy is progress. Progress equals happiness. Progress is everything. Even if you're not where you want to be, if you keep making progress, you're going to get there. But more importantly, you're going to feel alive along the way. Because what makes us happy is growing and giving. And if you grow in this area of your life, you'll start to have more that you can give to other people in this area. And that's where it gets really cool, really exciting, and really passionate. That's what drives me still at this stage of my life. So I hope this is supportive of you. And I hope I'll get a chance to see you at some event sometime soon. And if not, I hope I bump you into the street. But whatever you do, make sure the momentum keeps going by you taking some action today. That's my reason for reaching out.